Jeremiah part 8, chapter 40, verse 11. And hold on. Okay, 11. Not Jews, Israelis, and that also would be when the Israelis who were in Egypt heard that Nebuchadnezzar left a remnant. Okay, and I'm the guy that put the word governor here, was over them. A governor, guess don't need that word there. Appointed a governor over, and oh, yeah, I guess I do. Which were driven. They weren't driven, they were fled. Were really sent. So later, instead of now, later, I guess it's opposite, but this guy's here who, when you read the story, who commanded our protectors. They had a force here, like there's an army there now. But like I showed you before, there's three guys that have these men that are around. So this guy here is one of them, and they're protectors. They aren't a force. They aren't an army. They're just, the better word is protectors. And so are you aware, not this guy's name, but the Arabs. And now these would be, like I said, on the other side. Oops. I guess if I move it down here, then you're seeing. I got to remember that. I just put this up here. Let me see. Maybe move it over as much as I can and then go from there. Nope, still in the way. But protectors here, and then send this guy here who's going to be their messenger. If they're sending people, then it has to be. These guys have been dead for so long, it's not even funny for the kings and stuff. Maybe you who are not aware of these, when you see this, you're kind of wondering what's going on. Yeah, it's hard to remember everything, but I've studied the text for so long, inside and out, and know it really, really well. So it should be a three verse, I believe. Yeah, three verse. Okay. Then should be later. Oops. And this guy's name, I took this off, didn't I? Yeah, here. So this should have been removed. So you don't get confused as much as I am here. And not spoke, but met secretly and told him that he'd go and he would kill him and no one would know. Who takes your life means to kill. The word why I've changed to if. Why he kills you. If he kills you, who has gathered to you will be scattered or die by them. So they're worried now about the Arabs coming over and raiding them, because there is a governor over the people over west or east of the Jordan River. So when Babylon come down, they went over there, and so they left a governor there as well. They're spreading rumors. They're not lies, they're just rumors. Because how would you know if it was a lie or not? So he has to say the word rumor. It's more truthful. And it was in his 7th month that when this guy did come with 10 men, came, and that's to him in the city. And I moved his name over here so we have him introduced before we have the city introduced. And while they're eating breads with oil, olive oil mixed with herbs and dipping warm bread is pretty tasty. I gained 30 pounds doing that when I first retired. I went nuts when I found all the seasonings for that. So, um, just a warning, it's really good. um, in fact, I haven't had that in a while. Okay, now this guy I've got is supposed to be this way, supposed to be done here. And they rose up and that struck him. They killed him with their swords. Overseer of the city, put him to death. Who had been okay? So, like I said, it wasn't. When I say land, it's not very descriptive what's going on. Because there's this other governor over the land of east of the Jordan. Later in the text, not this text, but um, when they're returning 20 years later, you find out he's more powerful than the guy over here. So um, I'm going to just make it over the city. I think I said before it's like 20 square miles, if that, around where he is the governor. But I couldn't put 20 square miles here, or even less. The officials, I had to leave them. I had to let them know what kind of Chaldeans that were left over. But those who were stayed there after the war, they were probably appointed to help um, be over this area. He stayed there after the war. Had to have him stay there for some reason. So just putting the stories together logically. So that's what I did by putting officials, and they stayed there after war. These guys were killed as well, by the way. He had pointed overseas. Okay. And the next day after they killed them, and no one knew about it, there was supposedly 80 men here, 80, 8 10s. Well, that's just way too many. So I made it 6 leaders. Came from Shechem, Shiloh, and Samara. And they were coming to Mizpah to meet with this guy, the one who had been appointed the governor, to talk to him about matters of what's going on for them. These were just been 6 leaders, can't be just men, but had to be leaders from that group that kind of come down. Like I said, they're traveling the highway, so they have to come and then they go down, and then they can go over for traveling. So they're picking up the people, what's remnants are left in the old kingdom or old nation of Israel. This doesn't have to be here. This is just ridiculous. And this guy here is smaller. When he came out and he met him, now notice I've got it as a 4-verse group here, and it should be probably 3, 3. So somewhere here, I'm going to end up getting rid of that one verse. I can't remember which one it is. Or maybe I added a verse, 2 verses, or changed things around. I can't remember right now what I done to it. And he said, "Come with me and I'll find this guy with you." And then it turned out as soon as they came inside the city, he killed with his men. He killed them. They slaughtered them. They killed them with their swords and put them in not a cistern, but a well. This is they have a double story. I need to write this down a little bit. Doubling of the stories. I'm going to make a list of, I'm pretty sure there's 5 major reasons for most of it. I'll be getting rid of all this stuff. But he ended up taking captives from our people that were there, and they were the daughters of our people. They weren't the king's daughters. It has nothing, the king would have killed everybody related to him because they didn't leave. He didn't leave with his daughters. He wouldn't have left them behind. Um, it proceeded. They went across to the Jordan River. I had to tell you where they are because sons of Ammon is the place that they're describing, and it's just not true. Um, I was going to put up a map here, but let me use this one here. Okay, this here is, whoops, got the wrong button here. Okay, now Jerusalem is down here, and this is where I'm saying is all this is taking place, because there has to be this river here by the Jericho, and then down here in the thickets, where they found them. This is, I'm trying to see, and this has got to be less than a couple miles, but this is closer. But what they were trying to do is say sons of Ammon. Well, actually, I'm not sure now that I'm thinking really quickly here. Let's see, I should have more maps. Anyways, what I'm saying is um, they were either here or here. Were Ammon's first, then Edom? No, Edom's down here. Somewhere they're saying they were here, but this is so long ago. But this is what they're saying. But this area is pretty much desert over here. There's not much livable space here. In fact, I know when I made it, the map, that Saudi Arabia desert is pretty close here, the Arabian desert. So that's where they were fleeing to when they were caught. And so he's a marauder or a raider type representing these people on the other side of the river. Cross to the Jordan River, but this is, I had to put in Jordan River. These people don't exist. And then when this guy did find out, he heard that his force, his men, heard what he did. He went after them, not by the Great Pool, but by the Jordan. So I don't know if there's a pool of water down there that's off from the Jordan River, if that's more true or not. Things change over 2,000 years, so I don't know, but there might have been a great pool of water that had off the side of the Jordan, but I'm just going to say it's going to be the Jordan River. They're down there. That's where they were at before they crossed over. And then they weren't people, they were daughters, so they're females. And when they called out to them, our females, when they were taken by them, ran to them to be rescued. And why I had to put this word in here, these ran to them to rescue, is because here this guy escapes, okay? When he escapes, it means that they were too busy with people coming after him to go after and chase him. So just to let you know why I ran to them to be rescued, it kind of made it logical that what was going on. Went to the Arabs. Anyways, not all, but they're groups. It can't be the word all when you start describing all. This is not. But the object is this was groups of our people, both great and small, approached Jeremiah. Now I had to add the word Jeremiah here because they're going to be asking him what was going on. So we have to introduce the meeting of the people together first. And let us petition to come before you, that you pray to ask for us. Uh, I don't know if I'm going to change the word pray here to petition to ask. Um, our Creator has never talked to me. So I don't know what the prophets did at that time, whether they were um, seeking Him by prayer first and then petitioning Him. So it's kind of like pray is to talk, and then to talk to Him, then to ask Him. So it's very close to a petition here when it's this way. So I'm going to leave it as pray right now. It might be changed. Just putting that up as a heads up warning for this remnant. They wanted to know what to do because they too were now, after they heard that this guy killed him, are they going to keep coming and raiding? There's nobody here to protect us but these guys that are acting on their own to protect us. And then they're more or less saying the way, where, not way, we should live or walk. We already know that they're supposed to obey our Creator, but where should we live? They're worried about whether they're going to go to Egypt or not down later in the text, so it has to reflect it up here on top, or what we should do. Maybe not go to Egypt, maybe go to Babylon. They're asking for our Creator to tell them. So Jeremiah heard from them and heard their worries. They had the word behold next, and he's hearing their concerns. So I'm just put it as their worry or your worry. What about all these, what's just been happening? And I will pray to YV about your words. Now, again, that when they're talking about they're being concerned, this could be part of praying or talking. Praying is the act of kneeling and seeking out our Creator. The prayer is not the words being said pretty much, but it's the state of being that you're in to talk to YV about your words. You'll see that reflected when I try to define each of these words to mean what they're supposed to be always in the text when I'm editing. I didn't find, because like it's a prayer. Okay, now prayer, yes, now we know we're talking to our Creator, but pray is the state of where you're being, that you are seeking your Creator. So this comes out only if you study the words. I don't care what the secular dictionary says. So in accordance means about, and I changed these words, took these and moved them over here. And it was not at the end of that day, not the end of 10 days, but at the end, in the evening, change to end, at the end, I'm playing with the evening of that day. It wouldn't break down into a format, so this is why this is being reduced to one verse. It makes sense. Our Creator knows what's going on, so it's not going to take 10 days for Him to answer. They called him, and then He called the groups of our people to Him, both small and great. And He said He's being sent to you, and He tells them what it is. And I had to add here, you are to help rebuild. Stay in the land. Well, if you're staying in the land, you are to start to rebuild. So you're to help rebuild. So adding this is not some great wonder how I figured that out. That word should be there. Um, do not be afraid of the Arab people who you are now fearing. Um, yeah, here's the part when they said they're going to Egypt, saying we'll go to the land of Egypt. Now, here again, the swords, I needed to change it to raiders that you're afraid of will overtake you before you get there. In other words, our creator's telling them that if you take off, I'm sending raiders to wipe you out. Okay, because he designated to leave them there. They got to understand that our life is always created everything that's possible. That's why everything is perfect out here. Um, it's created by our creator this way. So he will send raiders to overtake them. Now, down here, you are to live. We will not live there, but we will die by sword and have no survivor. Oh, this is Jeremiah talking to them. And then Jeremiah said to them, why have you prophesied to you, do not go to Egypt. You can see these words are out of order and will need arrangement to be put together. Do not deceive yourselves because you sent me to him. So not understand, but for you to know. Now you know clearly. Now you understand. No, now you know the answer. This understand, no, he's explained it quite well what was going to happen. Now, here, we're going to have this guy's name here. He's going to be a little bit arrogant with his men, and he says, you're lying, whatever you're doing. So he's lying. So some of the people that our creator left behind weren't always believers of our creator. Um, uh, so when he said he was going to leave a remnant of his, he must have been on the border because these guys are going to take off and go there. As I said, did not send you that we are not supposed to go to Egypt and live there. But down here, so some of our people did not obey YV to stay in our land. See, they left. And then down here, the story continues, and before they entered the land of Egypt, the Arabs killed them. I had to put that in because that's what's above. So that was pretty easy to figure out. But notice how the story has got a lot of filler in it before it gets to that you make something up out of these, right? Or I found these formats this way. So you're seeing their editing work and how they edited re-edited the text for their, as Jesus said, for their gods. And now the Jews. Okay, now this would have been. Okay, now see, this is all of a sudden it's back to where prophecy was happening. He was arguing with the people. This is going to come after he warns them of a prophecy, and then they have a conversation. And this is like setting up the conversation before it gets to the conversation. And then they told Jeremy, this is the group that was standing there listening. So, as for the message, you prophesy, not that you just spoke these words, but so I just put it into context of what the words or what was happening here before I got to it. To the Queen of Heaven and pouring out oils to her, and our forefathers did this. Notice how he calls her the Queen of Heaven, and I put it as a capital H because the pagans believed the stars became the gods. Okay, So when the moon is designated as a female goddess, she's got control over the moon, a ruler over the moon, because we know that they also named Venus as a goddess of a planet. Um, but the object is they named them. Mars is something like a warrior. Um, so, and the planets do play on our body. I'm just going to let you know that I know the hospitals are aware of more activity of fighting and stuff at a full moon. And actually, if they do a study of Mars when it's the closest every 2 years to the Earth, you will see more activity. That's why it's designated as Mars is related to wars or a god of war. Um, they didn't have a television. They were well aware of what was going on with the stars. So sacrificing to Ra, this is the sun god, and then to the Queen of Heaven. So this verse right here ties the gods together. Of all the verses that I'm doing, that this is tying them together. That when I say Ra and other gods, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, those type of things, they thought they were a stronger ruler in heaven because they got to roam around. I'm trying to look at the time and trying to see how much longer I've got to go, so the last video is not going to be 2 minutes. Able to hold, endure back. You are no longer to hold back because of your evilness. These made more sense than able to endure because of your evilness. Our Creator can put up with anything we can do, so it's kind of like he's not just able to endure it. We are nothing. I mean, come on now. This is just not understanding our Creator. Thus, those in the land of death or captivity. Now, this is when they're talking, he's got to reply to what was going to happen when he was talking about a prophecy. Not that that's the object of horror and curse as an empty land, but you're going to go into death and captivity, and so it will be without people and not inhabitants, but without people. So, and these days are coming. So sometimes when you see the text like this, it's getting sooner and sooner. Like they know that they're coming. They can hear them coming down, and they're conquering people as they're coming down, gathering captives and sending them back up. Between Assyria and, I'm just looking at the map up here at the top to see, up here I'm looking to see how many years. Yeah, it's been quite a while, so there would have been a lot of people. But, so not spoke, but talked. Now here again, this is when he is in being held, but this when he was written by his tongue, not dictation. If you remembered the last video, I think it was, or 2 videos ago, that we talked about this. And it was in the 4th year. Now we're going back to this king. So instead of just dividing up the land and already over, we're going back to this king. And your sorrows and grief, not pain, but grief. The pain's already over. It's grief time. And seeking evil, not great things for yourself, but seeking evil things for yourself. Um, this was to have the sharing of the experience of meditate and having the so-called sex with the female goddess, and bring the war on all our land. Um, so I got to remember where I'm at by jumping around as well. Here it is, still in the 4th year. I got it highlighted because I wasn't sure if this text goes with this king or not. As you can see, I'm having to move some text around and all over the place here. So the colors are matching up to where I moved them. But this way, we have the horses in order, then they're polishing their swords, and then they're putting on their helmets, and then their armor, and then they are arrayed with their shield and spears as they draw up for battle, and then they're here. So it's kind of like the correct order. When I was reading it, it was hard to make sense of it, and then I thought, I'll unscramble them here to make sense so it reads in order when I clean it up. Facing back, looking back is more of the correct knowledge. You're thinking back, like without looking back. And because these are 2-verse, some of these might have fallen in to 2-verse a lot more than normal, but these are the ones that I ended up with. I think there's, how come I didn't leave this word here? I'm going to have to check that. Maybe I slipped with the key and I added that word. So do I have time to do that? 31. Let me get back here. Let's see if that's part of the original text. 46 verse 46:8. Now I'm getting to read it on the screen here to make sure it's almost the end. Yeah, that's what I did. I added, there's no word kill here. Destroy the cities. I've got that, not city, but all the cities. So I did add the word here, kill. So let's put this back in, 11 point, and I did this. So let me copy this. I got to check this before I I'm just trying to save it. Well, I hate this. They just don't. They want to save it where they want to, and I've got so many things organized here in groups. It's not his vengeance, but it's his promise. And that day, this is talking about when it does happen. This is his promise, because the promise is that he made it with the tribes of Israel coming out of Egypt. In case you want to know what the intent of these words are. Concerning Moab. Now, okay. Now, why did I not delete this? Okay. What time is it? Okay, I'm going to stop here because this gets interesting here. This, well, tune in.